Thank you. Before I answer your question, let me quickly say that I noticed you used the word allegedly, and everything I'm going to tell you on this program, none of it is an allegation because I was an active participant in the story. So I'll be telling you the things that I saw, basically, not exactly the things that people told me, you know. So how did I get into it? It was about, different complaints that I'd got over a number of months about the scourge of smuggling in that axis, and whenever I put out a story and I sign it off with my name and I call it an investigation, I participated in it. So I thought, let me try to smuggle, some items into the country in bulk and then see if it's possible. So there are two major talking points so far from that story. What I said happened with customs in terms of how they take bribes and let people smuggle things into the country. And then my mentioning of Ibrahim Egungbo Dende, as a smuggler. Those are the two talking points. But Dende was not even supposed to be part of the story. It was simply about customs, and then in the process, I found out more than I bargained for, as they say.
So can you tell us a bit more? Because I noticed that this has now gone on. You started sometime in 2022. This investigation seems to have taken a period of about 2 years. You did Fantastic. One by motorcycle, and then you said you tried to go back again to do one, with a vehicle, that's a car. But it would seem that one was more successful than the other.
So I'm happy you asked that question. So I went in November 2022, went into Benin Republic, got the bags of rice, brought them into a place called Ojaodon. And then from Ojaodon, I was supposed to move them to Ilaro. But we had to bribe customs. So what happened was I went in, like I wanted to smuggle, and then I had to get smugglers already based in Ilaro and Ojaodon to take me in as part of them. Meaning that everything I wrote that the smugglers told me, the smugglers were not speaking to a journalist. The smugglers believed that they were speaking to a smuggler like them. And that's what, so when people say, oh, it's hearsay, it's not hearsay. No, it's just like going undercover to join a robbery gang. And then, because you are one of them, they tell you, oh, and the IGP or police commissioner is part of them. It's not, you can't treat that kind of information with scant regard. So we were waiting for customs to tell us the day to move the bags of rice from Ojaodon to Ilaro. And while waiting, I had to leave the country. I had a trip planned, so I traveled, So there was a wait time because the customs official who took money from the lead smuggler had not yet given us the all clear. So what happens is, if you read it in any newspaper, customs intercept 1 million bags of rice. Those are people that did not bribe them. Those are people that did not bribe them. Anyone, and I say this with all conviction because I spent weeks in 3 spells to get this story. Anyone can bring in anything into Nigeria if you pay the right people. If you read any news that customs seized whatever, those are people that try to outsmart customs. If you bribe the right people in customs, you bring anything in. And when I say anything, I mean rice, I mean chicken, I mean turkey, I mean arms, I mean ammunition, I mean guns, I mean tramadol, I mean motorcycles used by terrorists in the north. These are all things that were brought in. The Nigerian customs cannot deny. They arrested IBD Dende in the second half year for gun running. They know why they picked him. Let them come out and tell us. The previous time they arrested him, they confirmed they arrested him, but they never told us what is smuggled. So how come you can tell us you seized 100 bags of rice, but you arrest someone and you can't tell us what is smuggled? And the then custom spokesman confirmed it. So yes, I did it in spells because each time we couldn't move it in on our own. If you try that, you run the risk of getting killed. As I wrote in that story, one of the smugglers that I worked with directly, his friend was killed because we were trying to move stuff through the forest, bypassing customs, not paying bribes to customs. His friend who thought he had charm, he was fortified, got shot by customs and he died. This particular smuggler, jumped into the bush, broke his leg, it took him time to heal. So, people have to understand that when they consume the media and it's there that customs assist whatever, cocaine, whatever, those guys did not pay them. If you pay them, you bring it in.
Fisayo, these are very, very heavy allegations because what it would mean,
I can make them.
Yeah, well, what it means
I'm making them.
Is that the entirety of it would seem that they are no good eggs. That's what it would mean because initially the impression I got when you published the reports and I read it was that it would seem that some smugglers are terrified of customs. I mean, you cannot just carry the goods across, because in some instances there were hillocks on patrol. In other words, there were still people who were doing their jobs, but that there were people within the system who were corrupt, who were willing to take money and tell these people where their colleagues were, and as such betraying the entire efforts of the Nigerian customs system. That's the impression I got. Not that the entire system itself is degenerate, but you seem to think otherwise.
So both statements are correct. The entire system is degenerate in that the good eggs are few, and then they cannot deliver when they're being betrayed all the time. If you pick a customs patrol van, hillocks is street lingo among smugglers. Say hillocks is coming, that's customs. If you pick the customs patrol van and you go to the street, and smugglers already know you are coming, what can you do? There is nothing you can do. As I said, the only guys who get caught are the ones that have not bribed anyone such that the patrol team can be sabotaged.
Well, I do also know that in the period of this investigation, which you also have admitted took a while for, many reasons, the hierarchy of customs service has also seen a shakeup of some sort. We've seen the new CG appointed to the helm. Has there been any change in modus operandi?
Nothing has changed. The new CG knows everything that is happening. The biggest smuggler in the Southwest is friends with the new CG. There's a relationship. Is friends with the president. He was on the president's train to the climate summit in Dubai. He's friends with a number of governors. He's politically connected. So everyone who has the constitutional power to stop smuggling in Nigeria is aware of the depth of the problem, of the people behind it, and benefits directly or indirectly. I am making these statements. I know they are grave statements, and I'm saying them with certainty simply because I went in, I embedded with them, I spent time with them, and I know that it is impossible for that scale of movement of goods, of items. I saw trailers. I imported smuggled 100 bags of rice. I saw trailers moving stuff unchecked, and they are labeled headquarters movements. Nobody could stop them. You can't put a customs officer on the road and then the customs officer is not free to stop movements of trailers coming in from outside the country. Can only happen because, as they say in Nigerian parlance, it's order from above.
Well, as I also pointed out, there were 2 reports released almost back to back within the month of February alone. And it does appear now from this ongoing investigation, which you said you came across with one of the, I'm trying to remember his name now, IBD, I think you called him in your investigation.
Yeah, IBD Dende.
Yeah, it does appear that quite a lot more is going to be coming out. But I want to focus on the first two reports which you released. Now, the first one, I saw that you undertook it. You went to Ilaro and all these other places around Ogun State. Exactly. You embedded and, you had visuals and all of that. But the subsequent one, in which you accuse the Nigeria Customs Service of smuggling motorcycles used by terrorists. And these are grievous allegations when the Customs Service itself is the one, you say, smuggling these motorcycles on behalf of terrorists, not just for commercial motorcyclists, because we know that it's still a major source of transportation for many people across, specifically for terrorists. And you also say they import hard drugs into the country. You seem to have relied more on sources than an actual investigation. What would you say is responsible for the differences in connecting the investigative dots?
So for every single undercover investigation I have done, I have happened on sources who were willing to volunteer more information, sometimes with proof, when not with proof, with a promise to show up, if necessary, in court, if anyone says there's a lawsuit. So the source I quoted in that story is not an ordinary source. Look, no source can tell you that Zone A, all movement of goods in Zone A have been narrowed down only to Ojaodon. No ordinary source can give you that terminology. No ordinary source can know the contents of goods being moved into the country. No ordinary source can know the destination of motorcycles. Now, you said, and correctly, yeah, motorcycles are means of transport. When you bring in motorcycles into this country and they are destined for the north, you are creating problems. When you bring in tramadol and it is destined for the north, you are creating problems. When you smuggle in arms and ammunition in the second quarter of 2022, and we had a presidential election in the first quarter of 2023, you are creating problems. Now, if the Nigerian customs arrests you for gun running and you are freed, it means that there are people who are powerful who benefit from it. The Inspector General of Police is from this region. It's from Yewa. This smuggler is from Yewa. The IGP, if he does not know what is happening where he's from, then he's not fit to be IGP. If he doesn't know, but he knows. You probably will, during this show, play a video of Dende threatening to kill a custom officer who, for whatever reason, stopped his vehicle containing rice, stopped it from entering the country. And he was openly boasting, I have called Wale, that's the CGC. I have called Ejigbono, that's the controller of operations in Zone A, that's the most powerful controller in the Southwest. I've called Ejigbono. I've told Ejigbono to call Wale. And the confidence, the language, you have customs officials, gun-wielding customs officials, not like they were not armed, they were armed, begging him, pleading him. These are things you see that show you how bad the situation is, how terrible. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder in this country. Our insecurity issues are nowhere close to getting resolved. Because if you move in arms and ammunition large scale into the country and you get away with it, they've disappeared into the country. They are ending up in the arms of people who have no respect for the sanctity of life. and some damage will be done with it. So it's a big problem.
Mm-hmm. It is indeed a very big problem, but I don't know whether you see, I was going to ask you first about, what the reaction of the Customs Service has been to this, because I know that as a journalist, you would have reached out to them. We'll come to that shortly. But what I want to know is whether covering this and also seeing that within the same week in which you released your report, that Premium Times also released an equally damning report, but this time based on an ongoing EFCC investigation into the Nigerian Customs Service and the accounts of some senior officials in Nigerian Customs Service. So does it give you any hope that something is being done and that there is, help on the horizon to try to sanitize whatever is going on within the Nigerian Customs Service?
It doesn't give me any hope, and I'll tell you why. Now, I'm not quite sure of the connections of the Northern expose by Premium Times to the powers that be. I don't know that connection. It's true, So Premium Times got the documents, the contact from the EFCC in the North. I got the legwork in the Southwest. So the things I wrote in the exclusive, about getting IBD Dende getting money from other smugglers, remitting them to the customs hierarchy in Abuja. It's the same template now that Premium Times uncovered in the North, because all the guys that were found with cash, it's proceeds of smuggling. Now, but the reason it still doesn't give me any hope is that the president of the country knows this guy and nothing has been done. The IGP knows him. The CGC, Comptroller General of Customs, knows him. These are three people in their own right, each of them acting independent of the other, has the power to stop the mess in the Southwest. And it hasn't been done. Until that happens, let's invite EFCC to look into smuggling, into customs in the Southwest, investigate the major customs officials in that region, link their accounts to the headquarters, and let's see what they will produce. Any effort that has not led to the wiping off of the perpetrators of smuggling in its dangerous economic and security form does not encourage me. It's not about telling me that, or telling the public that you have traced funds to people. No. These are the people in charge of smuggling, and you've taken them out. As I said, the Comptroller General of Customs is aware, but he still has his job. The IGP is aware, he still has his job. Nothing has changed, So all that money staying in the North and nothing has happened to the Comptroller General of Customs. You think billions of naira can exchange hands and then the head of an agency claims not to be aware? I don't think so.
Well, I don't know what the reaction. Can you tell us what the reaction of the Nigeria Customs Service has been to your report?
Before I went to press, I reached out to the spokesman, Maiwada, texted him 3 days in a row. He didn't answer. When I finally called him, he told me that, yes, he saw my messages, but I was asking to speak with the Comptroller General. It's not like I was asking to speak with him. So I had used the wrong medium. It degenerated into an argument, and I said, look, you can't, he was quite condescending in his approach. You can't speak to me condescendingly because I'm giving you the opportunity to respond. I cannot force you to respond. I only have to show that I reached out to you. It's your choice if you want to respond or not. And he kept on insisting I'd used the wrong medium. Okay, so tell me the right medium. Do you want an email? I'm out of the country, so I can't make a cellular call. What medium do you want? And he ended the call angrily. So
So what would you
yeah,
have? What would you have the people do? Because a lot of people are reading and they're very concerned. They're, also looking to the customs for some answers or for answers. They're looking to the government of the day to say, what will be your reaction? But really, what can people do? What should the people of Nigeria be demanding of their government and the Nigeria Customs Service?
Number one, I'll start from journalists. Lots of newspapers published rebuttal by IBD Dende, against me, against FID, against Arise TV, against whatever, without as much as sent one person to Ilaro to go and ask, please, who are the smugglers in this town? If you ask 20 people in Ilaro, 19 will tell you the same name. If you go to Oja, so as media, why are you giving a voice to someone claiming to be whom he is not? That's, on the part of the media. Then as people, it's not enough to read online and that's the end. Ask questions. If you want to protest to the Office of Customs, protest. Billions, dozens, billions of naira can't be traced to people, and nobody is forcing the agency to respond. The CGC did not get to his office the following day and meet a crowd of 1,000 Nigerians saying, you must explain to us what is going on. So if Nigerians are not going to, take action beyond speaking on social media, then people like Customs will sit somewhere and say, you don't have to respond to them. Give them 3 days, 5 days, 1 week. It will blow over. They'll be distracted by another headline, and then life continues. It's too easy the way those who are frittering away our Commonwealth, it's just too easy how they get away with it.